George H.W. Bush aided the reunification of Germany, peacefully ended the Cold War, and kicked Iraq out of Kuwait. But he also presided over the deaths of thousands of people, because that's what U.S. presidents do. His passing is a reminder of the outsized impact that American presidents have on people who will never get the chance to vote for them. If you consider the case of a single country, Iraq, then his effect on the life of that country, the people of that country, was absolutely immense. One of the most brutal incidents in the first Iraq War was something that came to be known as the Road of Death, when Iraqi convoys who were jammed into a small space on a stretch of road in Kuwait were attacked by American warplanes that had complete air superiority, and they left a charred landscape of bodies and equipment for miles on end. Just thousands of people died in a few minutes, really for nothing. The war and the sanctions had an absolutely savage impact on Iraqi infrastructure, roads, hospitals, electricity. And when we invaded again in 2003, one of our tasks was to get that infrastructure back up and going, and we were never able to do it. And it still hasn't recovered to this very day. Before we invaded Iraq, we were part of a gigantic military buildup in Saudi Arabia. It was a coalition of many, many, many countries. But it also involved stationing U.S. troops, including female troops, in Saudi Arabia, which was a rather sensitive issue to many Muslims, among them a young Islamist radical named Osama bin Laden. It's a great example of the way that we act overseas, causing all kinds of domino effects that we can't foresee at all. In China, President Bush Sr. had to respond to the incredibly difficult challenge of the massacre in Tiananmen Square in the summer of 1989, when Chinese security forces dispersed the student demonstrators who were there trying to demand freedom. And it was a really brutal slaughter. And he was then faced with the problem of choosing between supporting the then Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping, who was responsible for all the genuine reforms that had happened, but who was also directly responsible for cracking down on the students. George H.W. Bush decided to play it fairly safe, not offend the Chinese too much, and there are many dissidents and human rights activists in China today who feel that he didn't act strongly enough. So of course, we're talking about George H.W. Bush right now, but to some extent, these stories apply to all American presidents. Because every U.S. president commands by far the biggest military in the world, has economic power rivaled by few in the world. When we act out in the world, we create all kinds of consequences, some of them benign, some of them destructive. And then we Americans tend to forget about those consequences, but the people affected don't.